Chapter 1. Chapter 1. I want to share with you a little personal information. We'll talk about what we encountered on the tournament circuit during our journey, and still on our journey in fishing. But it all starts with me. If it wasn't for me, it wouldn't be no Roper Outdoors. So I want to share a little bit about a personal side that most people didn't know. When I was young, I struggled with reading and math. Lord, I hate Jesus. To this day, I don't like math. But a real struggle. I hated. Remember when we were in class and they would go around and say, "All right, you read a paragraph," and "All right, and this student read a paragraph." I hated that, and the students hated for me to read because it would just take so long. So one day I was visiting my parents up here in Jersey, and I think I was looking for a game. I was in a cabinet, and I came across these old papers, and I started to go through all these old papers. I was like, "Oh my goodness, these are papers from like when I was first and second grade." I'm going through there, and all of a sudden I came across this report, and on the report it said that I was perceptually impaired. That's what they discovered, that I was perceptually impaired. So I took the report and I brought it to my mother, and I said, "What in the world were you talking about?" And she said basically that they were saying that you don't perceive things, or you didn't perceive things the same way as other students. And I thought about that, and I was like, and that's a bad thing. That's a bad thing so they want robots. They want everyone to think the same way. And the first astronaut, black astronaut, Dr. Mae Jemison, she has a quote. She says, "Never be limited by other people's limited imagination. Never be limited by other people's limited imagination." And basically what they were trying to do was to put a label on me, give me a name, give me a title. And I'm grateful to God for my parents. I remember them having a meeting with the counselor or the social worker or whatever. And my mom kind of just rose up in that meeting and says, "Listen," my mom is from the education system. And she worked at an alternative school and with kids that had behavioral issues and things. And she witnessed and she saw what a label can do to a person. Maybe the label was true, maybe the label was not true, but my mom said, "I know and been around people that had a label on them and saw how hard it is to remove that label. And you will not put a label on my son." And shortly after that, I was taken out of public school. Now, I don't have nothing against public school, but shortly for me, on my journey, I was taken out of public school. And I just want to share with you all that's listening, just because something is delayed doesn't mean that it's denied. Yeah, I wasn't reading at the same grade level as everyone else, but I have since then stood in front of thousands of people and been on television, and I can read, and I don't shy from reading. It doesn't scare me. So just because something is delayed doesn't mean that it's denied. And just because something is delayed doesn't actually mean that it won't get to its destination on time. Did you hear what I said? Just because something is delayed doesn't mean that it won't get to its destination on time. And just because something is delayed doesn't mean that it will never be able to get back on time. Flights are delayed all the time. Just because an American or a Delta flight is delayed, so now we're going to make the assumption that every time that their flights are going to be delayed? No. So why do we do that with human beings? So I just want to encourage some of you. You might be struggling. You might just be open and honest with you right now. There is a new technology that came about 2 years ago called the Live Scope. And depending on how old you are, depending on how young you are, whatever, It's taking some people time. If you want to listen to what I'm saying, it's taking some people time to learn that technology, and some people are a little more delayed in grasping it than others. Now, what I don't want you to do, which I know there are some that have, is because of the delay, because of the hard work, is give up, is get out the race, throw up your hands, throw in the towel. During this series, you're going to find out that's not an option for us. Has it crossed my mind? Has it crossed our mind? Absolutely. But it's not an option. It's not an option that we're going to take. We've been doing this for nearly 20 years. And don't allow other people's limitations to limit you because they have a limited imagination. Delay doesn't mean deny. Delay doesn't mean that something won't arrive actually on time. And delay does not mean that it will be delayed forever. Stay focused. Stay focused. As my dad says, put the blinders on. When I would go through things and go through struggles and situations, because that's embarrassing. You know, it's embarrassing you being in class and trying to read in, and at the such a, it's like, what are you doing? Speed up, hurry up. And that's in the beginning, that's how I was reading. But yeah, don't allow anyone's limitations, their limited imagination, to put you in the limit. If that was the case, we wouldn't have a Les Brown. Les Brown was considered mentally, academically, educationally delayed. They actually put a label on Les Brown. And if he was to believe, for a period he did, because he used to tell the teacher that he was, I'm mentally challenged, or I'm, and he said one day there was a teacher that said, don't you ever say that ever again. You are not what they labeled you. And he said, and that shook him, that changed his course in life. And now Les, in my opinion, is one of the greatest motivational speakers on earth. One of the greatest motivational speakers. If he was to believe the label, believe what other people, limited imagination of him, if he was to believe that, his gifts, his dreams, his talents would have never flourished. But just because others are not flourishing doesn't mean that you don't have to flourish. Dudley, Mr. Dudley, Dudley's hair products. Also, they tried to put limitations on him, said that he wasn't like everybody else. And now, I don't know at this time, but he had one of the largest black-owned hair products. Had a school, university, a college. My brother went to Dudley's. That's where you learn how to be a barber and all that. And so, I just mentioned two people, and there's so many countless of others that at one time someone thought that they were delayed. And might was delayed, but that didn't define them. Don't allow the delay to define you. Stay focused. Chapter 2.